Over the last week, New Caledonia has descended into violence.
In May, riots broke out on a group of islands in the Pacific Ocean.
This is about the Pacific territory, the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia. The territory has, in France's words, escaped state control.
The indigenous protesters were calling for independence from the French state.
At least 5 people are dead and dozens injured after a week of violent protests. France declared a state of emergency.
Ongoing unrest has taken the death toll to 13, including 2 French security officers flown in to police the riots.
It was really, really dangerous. French police, they arrested people, they shot us in the street.
The French government took the unprecedented and controversial decision to block TikTok, claiming the platform was fueling insurrectionary disturbances. And in Paris, a minister made an interesting claim, that the violence was also being provoked from thousands of miles away, in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. Officials there denied any involvement. I'm Sam Judah with BBC Trending, where this week we're asking if there's any truth to that claim. In November, Azerbaijan is set to make a show of uniting leaders from around the world when it hosts a major climate conference, COP29. Would it really be riling the French government in a distant territory in the South Pacific? And if so, could it have any real-world effect?
No, it's impossible for Azerbaijan to influence the violence here. It's the problem of France. I think they are looking for an excuse again.
That's the view of Vero Zalui, an indigenous community leader in New Caledonia who sits firmly on one side of the debate. He's talking to me from his friend's garden, which backs onto a lush forest near the capital city of Nouméa.
New Caledonia is so beautiful. It's like a paradise where all tourists, they're coming here for their holidays.
But just a stone's throw from the house is a strong military presence that's remained in place since the outbreak of violence in May.
Just in front of us, behind the garden, we have a traffic control by the French army. They are looking for some weapons in some car.
Vero says he was among those arrested in May for providing assistance to protesters, then released without charge. Have you witnessed violence like this on the island in your lifetime?
Not like this. It's really, really disturbing for me because the first time for me to see something like that.
Like many in the indigenous community, Vero is campaigning for independence for New Caledonia, which has been in French possession since the 19th century. 3 referendums held since 2018 have fallen in favour of continued French rule. But the most recent was boycotted by the independence movement, which claimed its terms were unfair. A French court dismissed that argument, and this year, a decision in Paris to lift restrictions barring recent European immigrants from voting in local elections triggered the riots.
They abuse of their power. They didn't respect my culture, my people. We want our independence. We want to have our own sovereignty, to decide for our people and to decide for our future generation here in New Caledonia.
There isn't a serious suggestion that Azerbaijan caused these riots. The tension was long-standing, and they would have taken place without foreign interference. The French government claims Azerbaijan made an attempt to stoke the violence in a report it published in May through Visionum, a department set up to protect against digital interference in France's internal affairs. The report points to videos shared on social media, like this one. Over the dramatic soundtrack, a montage of graphic video showing dead and injured protesters in New Caledonia. There's a caption, "The French police are murderers," and a hashtag, "End French colonialism." What's most interesting is who was posting it. Visionum claims it's identified a small network of a few thousand accounts on X and Facebook, all posting content like this. And all of them, it says, from Azerbaijan. It isn't possible to check every account Visionum lists in the report's appendix because most have now been suspended, and the agency hasn't replied to our messages asking if they know why. But a handful are still live, and some of them belong to members of Azerbaijan's ruling party. That all seems unusual, and raises the question, are these comments genuine? To find out more, I spoke to Arzu Geybulayeva, an Azerbaijani digital activist.
My main interest lies in authoritarian technology and how these tools are used to target civil society.
Today, Arzu lives in unofficial exile in Turkey.
After a few death threats and a massive media campaign that started labeling me as a traitor, I was advised against going back to Azerbaijan.
Arzu was an outspoken critic of the Azerbaijani government, but she says the campaign followed a decision she made to write for an Armenian newspaper.
I got really interested in the media landscape and how reporting works in Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Nagorno-Karabakh.
That was the rub. Until last year, when Azerbaijan emerged as the controversial victor over Armenia in Nagorno-Karabakh, the neighbouring countries had been locked in a bitter dispute for control of the territory. The conflict was, and still is, a defining issue for both nations. When France backed Armenia over the conflict, it crossed a line, according to Arzu. That's why Azerbaijan might have an interest in France's troubles in the South Pacific.
I thought this was one of the ways that Azerbaijan was trying to send a message to France that it could have a hand in these protests in New Caledonia.
Arzu thought the theory seemed plausible and began paying closer attention. She noted the creation of something called the Baku Initiative Group, an independent body headquartered in Azerbaijan and set up just last year. Its stated goal is to eliminate colonialism, and it's particularly supportive of independence movements from France's overseas territories. It's a non-governmental organisation, an NGO, but Arzu says that designation is misleading.
Baku Initiative Group is not just an ordinary non-governmental organization. That doesn't work that way. The state lists around 3,000 NGOs, if I'm not mistaken. Those are often the ones who are fake non-governmental organizations, or how we call them gongos. So governmental, non-governmental organization.
To understand Arzu's claim, I looked up the Baku Initiative Group online. Pinned to the top of its feed on X is a video of Azerbaijan's president, Ilham Aliyev, from July, and he's making a speech.
Baku Initiative Group, as you know, this is an NGO, and they do a great job.
He's speaking at the Shusha Global Media Forum in Azerbaijan and begins by praising the NGO. But as the speech goes on, the line between their goals and his own seems to blur.
Countries suffered from colonialism in the past, and some countries still suffer from that. We are absolutely sure that what France is doing is unacceptable, is disgusting, and must be stopped.
And he ends, finally, with a crystal clear pledge of allegiance to independence activists throughout the French territories.
We will support you with all our resources until you are free to live on your land, to protect your heritage, your dignity. We will be with you.
The picture seems more and more hazy. In May's riots, there were adamant denials of any involvement from Azerbaijani officials. But here, the president himself offers full-throated support for New Caledonia's independence movement. In search of clarity, I caught up with the head of the Baku Initiative Group, Abbas Abbasov, and asked him about Arzu's claim that the NGO was actually an extension of the government itself.
We have not any links with Azerbaijan government. We're independent, and our main principles focused and based on supporting international cooperation under international law.
You will be familiar with this phrase, gongo. It is a charge that's been levelled at the Baku Initiative Group, and I wondered, what is your response to that idea, that accusation?
You know, it is the opinion of colonial powers. I must respect all opinions, but taking into account the reality, our organization is not gongo.
Abbas Abbasov is clear that his views are his own, not those of the government. And so what if many in Azerbaijan feel the same way and want to post their support for New Caledonia on social media? Shouldn't they be free to do so? I asked Arzu Geyblayeva, the Azerbaijani digital activist now living in Turkey.
That requires an understanding of how trolls and sock puppet accounts are utilized in Azerbaijan. And you notice how real accounts of real people who work for the government or who are members of the ruling party are given instructions on what type of comments to leave.
Government employees are thought to be instructed to post at the behest of the ruling party, says Arzu, an allegation that's difficult to prove. But there's another kind of wrongdoing at play that's much simpler to point to.
You also have loopholes, especially on Facebook, where you can set up as many pages as you like and use them to create a vast pool of social media accounts that are vocal on an issue. The whole idea behind that campaign is to amplify the government's messaging, whatever it is.
I wanted to see what Arzu was talking about for myself, and a colleague at the BBC said she too was very familiar with the problem.
My name is Könül Khalilova, and I am news editor for the BBC Azerbaijani service.
Könül has just returned to London from the BBC's bureau in Baku. I asked her about Arzu's claim that fake accounts were proliferating online and distorting legitimate political debate.
Oh, it's very common. We see it all the time on our social media accounts.
To show me an example, Könül opens a browser and navigates to a video her team published on Facebook in July.
Azərbaycanda hakimiyyəti tənqidləri ilə tanınan keçmiş diplomat
It's a news piece about a young former diplomat who was very critical of the government on social media. He was arrested and charged with attempting to stab someone, but he denied the claims, and those reports have been disputed by human rights groups.
The first time I saw this video, it had more than 700 comments, almost all in support of that arrest.
One post says, everybody is free in our country to voice their critical expressions. Another post says, everybody is equal in front of the laws, and anybody who violates these laws has to be punished. They all are like a copy and paste of each other.
Beyond just sounding generic, these obviously aren't real accounts. With just a click, you can see their Facebook pages, not people, the type of thing someone famous might set up to connect with their fans. But these pages don't have any. They're all but empty besides a name and a photo. Is that a one-off where we see lots of comments?
It's not one-off. It happens in many stories, mainly under the stories which have political dimension.
We ran an analysis. Of 731 comments on this post, 92% were made by pages, not people. I reported a handful to Facebook as an everyday user. In each case, I received a generic answer saying the comments did not breach Facebook's guidelines. When I contacted Facebook's parent company, Meta, as a BBC journalist, they said these were indeed fake pages and removed all of them. They say they are aware of this type of behaviour and will take action against future violations. We don't have hard evidence that dummy accounts like these are created or controlled by Azerbaijan's ruling party, but we do know that they exist in large number, and whoever is typing the messages is towing the party line. The report from Visionum suggests a similar tactic was at play during the riots in New Caledonia. So what might Azerbaijan be trying to achieve? Here's Könül on the country's broader goals.
Azerbaijan is trying to put itself in the international stage. It has hosted Eurovision, it has hosted Formula One for many years now. And in November, Azerbaijan wants to bring COP29 to its capital, Baku.
COP29, the International Conference on Climate Change.
And with all these events, Azerbaijan wants to portray itself as a modern, sophisticated country and amplify its reputation.
I wasn't sure how that squared with the idea it might be jumping into a distant row in the South Pacific, seeking vengeance for France's position on Nagorno-Karabakh. But Kunal says there's a sense in which these are two sides of the same coin.
Both of these are power projection. Azerbaijan is saying that I am a new player, I am much stronger, I am a force to be reckoned with.
We put the claims made in this programme to Azerbaijan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs that the government lent on its employees and used illegitimate Facebook pages to influence online debate and stoke dissent in New Caledonia. We did not receive a reply. The French government told us its decision to block TikTok in New Caledonia followed calls for violence on the platform and was not taken lightly. It said its minister's claim of foreign interference was just a small part of its overall response to the crisis. New Caledonia's independence movement long predates Azerbaijan's beef with France. Riots in the territory were not conjured into being from Baku. But in light of what I'd heard, I wondered if the claim from Viro Zalui, the indigenous community leader, that there was no connection between the two groups was entirely fair.
We don't have any link with Azerbaijan. We don't have these abilities, these political abilities.
I pushed him harder on that point, asking why representatives of New Caledonia had attended a conference hosted by the Baku Initiative Group in Azerbaijan's capital earlier that year. On that note, he seemed less certain.
Actually, I don't know what is the real project with them. But if the enemy of my enemy can help me, it's like a friend. If some country can help my people, I will try to work with them.
It seems Azerbaijan's attempts to make friends with France's opponents are set to continue for some time. That's it for this episode of BBC Trending. Thanks to our studio manager, Hal Haynes, and editor, Flora Carmichael. The clips you heard at the start of the programme were from PBS in the US and ABC News in Australia.